Tonight on the Maritime Beer Report, I got lots of news from New Brunswick, a little bit from Nova Scotia, and Garrison Brewing has its 7th annual homebrew winner. Hello and welcome to the March 6th edition of the Maritime Beer Report. Big Axe Brewery introduced 3 new beers this week. First up is Blonde Ale version 2. Light Golden Ale weighs in at 4.6% ABV, hopped to 26 IBUs with Pearl and Eldorado that gives the beer a fruity and citrus aroma and a clean, refreshing taste. Next up is Partridge Berry Belgian Wheat. This Belgian wit beer style, brewed with a mixture of pale malts, saws and other aroma hops, orange and spices like coriander and cloves. 5 pounds of partridge berries were added to the secondary fermentation step, which gives this beer a mild but complex tartness and a wild berry aroma. Lastly is its Chaga Porter. A dark brown in color, this beer offers a mild roastiness with pleasant caramel character. Brewed with traditional English aroma hops and a heaping pile of chaga mushrooms to create a unique tasting profile. This one weighs in at 5.4% ABV. The chaga is harvested in birch forest as has been used in Europe for its health benefits for centuries. They use New Brunswick chaga that's been responsibly harvested by their friend and wild foods enthusiast Dwight at Fieldhead Heaven Forest Products. These will be available at the brewery and will premiere at Fredericton Craft Beer Festival tomorrow. Le Brasseur de Petit-Sault says it's finally here. Their Maple Brown Ale, brewed by women, is on tap at the Boutique as of noon yesterday and Saturday at the Fredericton Craft Beer Festival. Out also this week is Lieutenant Ingall Session Pale Ale. This is their collaboration with their friends at Malt Brew to use 100% local malts. Both these come in at 4.6% ABV. Celtic Knot Brewing in Moncton says come on over and say hello at Fredericton Craft Beer Festival. He'll be bringing his Dub Loki Black IPA, which is very good by the way, and his Irish Red Ale. He also announced that his next one-off will be an Eldorado Hop IPA. It's going to be called Terminus. This will be one of many one-hop IPAs that he plans to brew this spring and summer. Hammond River Brewing will also be at the Craft Beer Festival in Fredericton, and they plan to bring the following beers for patrons to sample. 2 Hop to Handle Double IPA. This is his flagship double IPA brewed with a copious amounts of Columbus, Chinook, Cascade, and Centennial hops. It's an 8.4% ABV, 162 IBU beer. Next is an Imperial Bourbon Vanilla Porter. It's an Imperial Porter brewed with fresh Madagascar vanilla beans and with Maker's Mark bourbon. It's a 9.2% ABV, 32 IBU. And lastly, and most maybe deliciously, Breakfast Stout. This is an Imperial Stout brewed with local Java Moose coffee, oats, cocoa nibs, and his own homemade applewood smoked bacon. That's an 8% ABV beer, 60 IBUs. He's also doing a special beer for UNB. It's their 50th anniversary, and they've asked them to brew a special beer to help celebrate the occasion. I think that's the St. John campus. So they're brewing a golden anniversary beer. The beer will be available on tap at the Beaverbrook House in St. John on March 19th. Switching to Nova Scotia now. Well, kind of. Boxing Rock Brewing Company says they've launched their Rye India Pale Ale called The Next Chapter. It's a perfectly balanced IPA made with New Brunswick grown malt with a healthy helping of premium rye malt and some dark roast malt for a fantastic color. Sorry, Nova Scotia, the whole batch is heading to New Brunswick. Not only will they launch at the Fredericton Craft Beer Festival, they've sent some to the King Street Ale House, the Laundromat in Moncton, the Tide and Moor in Moncton, and Pepper's Pub in St. John. It will be available in select AN and BL stores in 650 ml bottles, and this one weighs in at 6.3% ABV. Granite Brewery put out a quick note this week saying they're reviving their India Pale Ale, and look for it next week. I'll have more details as I get them. Last night, Garrison Brewing held their 7th annual Brew-Off Gala. With a record-breaking 84 entries, narrowing it down to one winner was very challenging. The winner of this year's competition was, and is, Dave Martin. This year's style was a robust porter, a dark, rich, malty beer. Over 100 attendees packed the newly renovated brewery where they watched the award presentation and sampled beer from the finalists, along with being the very first to try and buy the 2014 winner's brew, Professor McDougall's Weissguy Hefeweizen, brewed by Jason McDougall under the watchful eye of brewmaster Daniel Gerard. Launched at last night's gala, Professor McDougall's Weissguy Hefeweizen glows hazy deep gold with notes of banana and clove with a hint of bubblegum. This beer is great with Gouda cheese and cured meats. It is a 5.4% ABV and 8 IBU beer. Professor McDougall's Weissguy Hefeweizen is hitting the shelves at the NSLC and all private stores for Brewery Fresh at Garrison and the Seaport Market. I got to try it last year and it was very good, so we'll see how it translated to the big system. Last item this week, Rock Bottom Brew Pub says they've changed one of their standard beers on tap. For the next while, they will not be carrying the Big Water Brown, but instead they'll switch to the Loyalist Extra Special Bitter. The Loyalist Extra Special Bitter is a classic English pub ale, burnished copper color with an aroma of toast, honey, and pear. A crisp malt body featuring bitter chocolate and toffee, earthy balanced bitter finish, perfectly pairs with crispy appetizers and of course fish and chips. It's a 5.6% ABV and 35 IBU beer. That's it for this week. Thanks for joining me again. I hope to see some of you tomorrow in Fredericton. And as always, enjoy responsibly.